Hi, this is Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow for Expansions.com, and this is our weekly news podcast for the first week of February 2018. Stuart is in Quito as we speak, so he, as you can see, is not here, but will be back next week. So I actually have a very short podcast for you today, but as always, very important information. The first thing I have to share with you is about Trump, who is insisting that the ice caps are at a record level. Now, he went on to say, look, it used not to be climate change, it used to be global warming. That wasn't working too well because it was getting too cold all over the place. Apparently, he told all of this in an interview last week with Piers Morgan. And he went on to tell Morgan, quote, the ice caps were going to melt. They were going to be gone by now, but now they're setting records. They are at a record level. And then apparently back in 2012, this article refers to a tweet that he made claiming that climate change is a Chinese hoax. So a lot of information going on out there about this so-called global warming, so keep your eyes open. And then remember what I've been telling you about some of the trigger words out there. You might have read about the Voynich Manuscript, which apparently was discovered in the 15th century with all kinds of weird looking alphabets and pictures and drawings. So scientists, however, are now saying that they have harnessed the power of artificial intelligence to unlock the secrets of this ancient manuscript that has previously baffled experts. And they're calling this alien characters. So those are your buzzwords, alien characters. Apparently, as I mentioned, it was discovered in the 19th century, and because it had puzzled cryptographers and historians, and now with advances in computer science, scientists at the University of Alberta say that they're actually decoding this mysterious text. Now, this is what's so interesting is they claim, first of all, that it was written in Arabic, but then they reviewed it and understood that the manuscript is actually written in Hebrew. The researchers say it turned out that over 80% of the words were in a Hebrew dictionary, but we didn't know if they made sense together. So what do these researchers do? Well, they ran it through, of course, Google Translate. How weird is that? According to them, it came up with a sentence that is grammatical and you can interpret it. And this sentence was, quote, she made recommendations to the priest, men of the house, and me, and people. Now, I want to tell you that this Voynich manuscript is actually written in an ancient Atlantean language, and it describes Atlantean plants and lifestyle. And if this manuscript was written in Hebrew, it would have been deciphered hundreds of years ago. So obviously they're just putting this out there so you'll think, oh, I won't think about this anymore because it is Hebrew. Doesn't make sense. And of course, Israel has been in the news a lot. We've been telling you what's been going on there. Well, guess what? The oldest human fossils outside of Africa were recently discovered in Israel. And here we go, changing history again. They are suggesting that the species left Africa at least 50,000 years earlier than previously thought. So they keep taking you back further and further and further. And in the state of Missouri, we have the Satanic Temple challenging Missouri's abortion laws on religious grounds. Apparently, in May of 2015, a woman who is now identified as Mary Doe contends that when she went to have an abortion, that the state's informed consent law required her to wait 72 hours before having the abortion, and that violated her religious beliefs. Specifically, this woman says she was forced to view an ultrasound of her fetus and pledged that she read a booklet stating that, quote, the life of every human being begins at conception, unquote. Now, apparently this woman advised the doctors at the St. Louis clinic that she adheres to the principles of the Satanic Temple and has sincerely held religious beliefs different from the information in the informed consent booklet. Specifically, her letter advised that she has deeply held religious beliefs that a non-viable fetus is not a separate human being, but is part of her body, and that abortion of a non-viable fetus does not terminate the life of a separate, unique, living human being. Now, Jex Black Moore, this is a spokeswoman for the Satanic Temple, said the woman's religious rights were ignored and that the state has essentially established a religious indoctrination program intended to push a single ideological viewpoint, and the law is intended to punish women who disagree with this opinion. Now, the Satanic Temple then goes on to say that Missouri's state-mandated informed consent booklet explicitly say that life begins at conception, which is a non-medical religious viewpoint that many people disagree with, and forcing women to read this information and then wait 72 hours to consider the state's opinion is a clear violation of the Establishment Clause. So we will see what happens when the Missouri Supreme Court reviews this, and here's the case, and we'll see what happens. So that's really all of my news stories for you. So very short, very brief, always important things going on in the world, and usually a lot of the same things, as you know. I do want to remind you that my self-healing webinars start up again in the month of March. We've already started for the month of February. I also want to remind you that our Alpine Clear trip, which I've been telling you about, only has 3 spaces left. The final registration date is April 30th. So if you're intending on going, please let us know as soon as possible. And I will remind you that this is studying the ancient Waldensian ways. And for only 710 euros, you have 7 nights lodging, 7 breakfasts, 7 dinners, and 2 picnic lunches. So you are well taken care of. It is a very inexpensive trip as far as Europe goes. Our biggest issue is always transportation, because we have to go from Milan up into the mountains, and then we have to rent a van up there in order to take us around to the mountain trails, which we will be hiking on. So if you're already over in Europe, this is especially inexpensive for you, because our biggest expense really here in the U.S. is getting there. I do have people already coming from the U.S., from the UK, I have them from Germany and from Russia. So it's going to be a very interesting trip, and we always do a lot of amazing personal work there. So if you're interested in our Alpine Clear Health and Healing Spiritual Tour, please let us know as soon as possible, June 2nd through the 8th. And also, please, I want to remind you to like our Facebook pages, share our posts, and I also want to just tell you that we do have a lot of people who oftentimes write into the YouTube channel with questions. Now, I want you to remember that we do have a Q&A blog on our membership side of the website. It is less than $1 a day, and you can ask all the questions that you want that are of interest to our general readership. Last month we did a fantastic blog on self-love. This month we've started one on money is only the beginning, as well as how to access the spiritual mind and, of course, control the animal mind. And as you know, this month of February is full of triggers and activations, so you need to be prepared. Now, if you don't want to get a membership on the site, which of course that's the first place to start, and you have questions, then these are some of the books you want to be reading. The Hyperspace Helper, Hyperspace Plus, Healing Archetypes and Symbols. All of these things will help you figure out what's going on in your life. We have Stuart Says, which is a great discussion book. We have a book of affirmations. And of course, Universal Law, Decoding Your Life. Everybody needs to read this book. And of course, if you are working on your programming, deprogramming, True Reality of Sexuality, 13 Cubed. And finally, our classics, if you want to know what's going on out there. Somebody's writing, well, if Stuart knows what's going on with the Illuminati, why isn't he telling us? Well, this book, Blue Blood, was written back in 2002. It's a classic, and this is probably one of our best sellers. So if you want to know about aliens and you want to know about the true history of the Earth and the galaxy, you better be reading Blue Blood, True Blood, followed by True World History, Humanity, Saga. Both of these books are going to give you a great background. So before you start writing in your comments and asking all these questions, consider a membership, less than $1 a day. Get a book and read so you actually know about us and our work, rather than just making comments because you can. We do a lot of research. We cannot tell you all this research in a short little YouTube clip, and you're not going to learn about us in a short little YouTube clip. So you need to get a membership, read our materials, and that will teach you about Oversoul Hyperspace work. I will also mention to you that Stuart has tentative plans to be in Argentina in April. And of course, we have a lot of things that are always going on here at expansions.com. Please like, comment, and especially share let other people know what's going on in the world out there in hyperspace, oversoul, a language, because you have tools. In fact, it was very interesting. One of the last people, I think I trashed their comment, I can't remember, but they said, if you're a fear monger, it's like, no, we talk about fear and anger, and then we give you the tools so you don't participate in that. So you have choices. Make a choice about your actions and reactions. You have tools and you have techniques, and we give you a plethora of information, much more than you could possibly use. But it's there and it's available. So don't say there's no help out there on the internet. Expansions.com, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.